Hello everyone. As you can see, I've got a new lavalier microphone, or a lapel mic on here. It was a gift from my lovely wife. It's my birthday tomorrow on the 4th of July, Americans' Independence Day away from my people. And so I got this lovely gift and I thought I'd test it out and make a little video. And I thought, what better way to test out a microphone on a conspiracy channel than having a little discussion about aliens on the way to work. Now, aliens to me are an interesting topic, not in so much that I believe aliens exist, but in so much that the whole phenomena of people believing that aliens exist is a huge part of the overarching conspiracy, which we need to discuss and uncover on this channel. I think more people should be talking about this. I think we've seen aliens have come back into the forefront of people's consciousness again lately, within the mainstream media especially. I think someone claimed to capture footage of very tall aliens in their garden or something, or very tall looking monsters in their garden. And that has obviously sparked a huge debate about whether or not the aliens are coming or if we're prepared and all this type of stuff. And I think it's good to go back quite far back in time when talking about aliens. I think we remember that. I think Ronald Reagan made a speech. Maybe it was at the United Nations, I'm not sure. And you can find the video. But he basically says, in an ominous way, sometimes I imagine that we need some kind of outside threat from some kind of extraterrestrial force in order to bring all the world together, It was just such a bizarre statement to make, at the UN. And it's this idea that, they want to build a new world order, They want to make a world where everyone comes together under one religion, one government, one currency, maybe even one language. They want to re-establish a brand new Tower of Babel society where all people have become one identity, And to do that, you have to destroy cultural identity. You have to remove borders and countries. You have to dissolve people's desires and trait preferences to no longer be part of their tribal culture. And it's to get to that state, this utopic state they often preach about, this new world order which they want to establish, where they are in full control. And they're going to have to do something pretty big, They're going to have to do something that would change people's minds and let them willingly give up their history to be a part of this one world system, And he was saying, maybe an outside alien invasion would make us drop all our differences and come together. And that was a long time ago. Was it the 80s? Maybe the 70s? I can't remember off the top of my head. But since then, there has been a flurry of alien films in the mainstream media. Films dedicated to exploring the concept of mankind contending with outside forces. And what would we do under such conditions? How would mankind possibly stand up to such advanced technology? Would we just be treated like insects by these outside super advanced beings? Would they just view us as animals, as cattle, and just treat us as such? And there are thousands of films, from the the A-list blockbusters to the backroom B-list movies, which have just covered this topic of aliens ad nauseum. And I think it's well ingrained within society now that everybody is expecting aliens to turn up at some point or something, a great alien invasion, an amazing moment of worldwide awe, where we all look up at the sky at one moment and see just something impossibly huge up there that we cannot possibly understand or comprehend, and it's just gonna change life as we know it, And well, people in the secular world, or at least are anticipating such a moment. People in our world, within the conspiracy culture, especially the Christian conspiracy angle, we don't think they're aliens, and we understand that what they call aliens and what will reveal themselves to us in the future as our saviors, as of a kind from space, are in fact not extraterrestrial, but truly far more terrestrial than we would like them to be. They are here on Earth with us. They are a part of the system of Earth and creation. They haven't gone anywhere, and they aren't coming from anywhere special. They're just simply revealing themselves to us after remaining hidden for a very long time. And they are going to lie and claim to be from outer space. And they will offer solutions to us. They'll offer extended life, extreme knowledge, an upgrade to our bodily functions. They'll make peace on Earth. They'll end all wars. They'll bring all of society together. They'll share with us their amazing technology. They'll invite us to be members of the Galactic Federation of the United Galaxies, or whatever nonsense they come up with, and we'll believe it, because we'll see these bizarre-looking, tall, thin, grey monstrosity animal-human hybrid things, and think, wow, look at them, look how incredible they are. They are so much more than us. They're so amazing and different, and I am in awe, and you will give in to amazement, and people will easily follow this if this happened. But what they truly are the ancient gods simply returning again. And if we want to get into this, there's the secular worldview of these things called the Anunnaki. These ancient archonic rulers that came down from heaven to earth and created a slave race of beings to mine the earth's resources for them. And just as mysteriously as they came, they left, and left us behind on Earth. This slave race that they supposedly claim that they created, and that's kind of like a wacky secularist view. Scientists don't take it seriously, but it's creeping in there within things like the History Channel, and that is like the basic bitch theory that people have about aliens. That's the basic go-to for most conspiracy theorists who haven't dug that deep. It's a surface level thing. They've understood something amazing, and people say, this is where all the megalithic structures come from. This is why we have pyramids and all these huge, stair-set pyramids all over the earth, these altars, this amazing technology that was left behind and has been occulted to us now. They were built by these super advanced beings from another planet, and they kind of left us behind, and they're going to return one day to mine our planet for more resources before disappearing to their mysterious planet again. A lot of Nibiru had a lot to do with this. A lot of this was to do with Zecharia Sitchin's interpretations of the Sumerian tablets and all this type of stuff, even though his interpretations have been highly contested. And the thing is, I just don't buy it. The Bible makes it clear what happened here. The extra biblical texts make it clear what's going on. And people say, obviously, just because the Sumerian texts predate the Christian text, that suddenly means that the Sumerian text must be correct. And it just doesn't work like that. Oral traditions are kept for a long time, and the different perspectives of the world are kept not through writing things down, but through passing down the stories from generation to generation within a culture. And just because one culture who happened to invent hieroglyphs and some kind of way to jot things down documented it first doesn't mean they're the right ones and they're the first ones. But this story of the Anunnaki are talking about fallen, rebellious Watcher class angels. The Anunnaki are shown to have animal heads and human bodies, not dissimilar from a cherubim, let's say, described in the Bible, which was around the thrones of God. They are like animalistic hybrid creatures in a sense. The Watcher class angels are serpentine hybrid creatures, feathered serpents. Think of Quetzalcoatl, for example, for the Northern Americas, and this idea that they are in some way like our creators is just a complete lie. They came down and abused creation. There's a whole story about what these things did to humanity, and they were brutal with us. They subjugated us. They subjected us to some of the most heinous things you can imagine. Basically out of spite. They didn't like us. They weren't happy that God had favored us over them. So they came down and pretended to be our gods and tricked us and deceived mankind and sent us astray into worshipping false and strange gods that they created through mixing their genetics with mankind. These are the Nephilim, the giants that were created by them, the offspring. And you can reinterpret the Zecharia Sitchin Anunnaki story as, this slave class they created were actually them creating giants. creating the Nephilim, not the humans, as some people have interpreted it to be. So it's just interesting that aliens are the go-to for most people these days. It's aliens, and it's the way I see it. You can only come to such a basic conclusion if you haven't really done your research. Okay, it's not aliens. That's not what's going on here. Sorry, I'm letting someone go there. It's not aliens. That's the lie. Okay, the lie is that there's this vast universe out there and you're an insignificant speck, and one day aliens will come and pull us out of our lesser states, basically. That's the false promise being given to us by the whole alien idea. It's sold to us dramatically in films as an alien invasion situation that if they do come, we cannot stand against it, so it's kind of predictive programming us to, when the gods reveal themselves, that we won't put up a resistance or a fight necessarily. We'll just accept it as is. You got many people out there, who are just waiting for the alien invasion. They're so bored with reality in their life that they just want something to happen. And I do believe they're going to put on a show one day. I think in conjunction with, let's say, the chemicals that they've already been spraying into the atmosphere to hypercharge the sky to be like a reflective screen, mixed in with frequency technology they have, and just technology in general these days is very advanced in terms of augmented reality and projection technology. I do think in conjunction with drones as well, think of that Spider-Man film and Mysterio using drones to make things look like they were actually there. We're going to see something like that, and I think they'll make a very convincing show that we are under attack or being visited by either evil or benevolent aliens. And it can go one or two ways. Benevolent aliens turn up and they teach us some amazing things, and we think we've ascended, and then we'll drop all of our old religions and gods, forsake God for these new gods, and bow down and worship them. Or they'll attack us and we'll defeat them, and they'll bring us all together, and then we'll learn from their technology and their ways, and then we'll come advanced into a new world order that way. Whichever way works is what they'll do. I don't think they have a cut and dry plan. They're keeping their options open. But don't be deceived. It's all smoke and mirrors. It's all a big show. It's all a lie, in conjunction with working with fallen angels and demonic demons on the other side of the veil. They're all going to work together on this to put on a very convincing show. All secret societies venerate these beings and have done since time immemorial, since before the flood and after the flood. They have continued to work with these entities, and they are their physical foot soldiers on the earth. So these secret nefarious cabals all around the world who own everything and control everything and have a lot of money and power and influence are working towards making this happen for their gods that they worship, which people call the Anunnaki. But that's just one name of many names. These things were the pantheon of gods in every civilization during that time, and they all did the same thing. They all came down to earth, put themselves in positions of leadership and rulership over all of mankind, and then they began to rape women, manipulate the humans, and mix themselves with them in deceptive, horrible ways, and they bred into positions of power and kingship giants, hybrid entities, half human, half god, demigods, things like that, and they were wiped out. They all killed each other off. As part of the punishment, all the giants fought each other and killed each other off, and the angels that did this were bound in chains until the end, and then they're going to get cast into the lake of fire. But that was just the angels, the 200 Watcher class angels that mated with women, that did this. There's still a third of the angels of heaven that rebelled with Lucifer, who are still free and are still pushing their own agenda. And that whole stint in the ancient past that created these false gods and giants was just one part of the agenda, and the agenda never really ended. And all that's happened is that we've just become blind to our history. And, it's possible our history is way, way, way messed up. And, the millennial reign of Christ, 1,000 years has already come and gone. And we're in this last little season where the devil is unleashed upon the earth once more, just to have his moment, have a try, one last try, to gather his people who are on his side together and do one last final hurrah before the end, And I think that may involve, trying to establish this new world order, finally, his kingdom on earth, And to do that, it's going to involve a lot of deception. And I think it will all become clear in the end after the false alien invasion stuff happens. There'll be this moment where it's revealed, like, no, we're fallen angels. God is real. So are demons. We made them. But you've chosen to worship us. I think that's what he's hoping for. And people will just accept that. Yeah, you're better than God. I'll follow you instead. And, do that at your own behest. But it won't end well for you. It will not end well. But in the end, I think all eyes will be open. Everyone will know the truth, what is going on. But there's going to be a lot of lies to get there. Like I said, people have been so heavily indoctrinated and bombarded with alien stuff that they're just, like I said, waiting for it. They're waiting for the alien invasion, just simply because reality is boring to them. They don't want simply just to be I don't know, aliens. Like, they don't want simply just to be this mundane 9-to-5 job. They want aliens. They want aliens to arrive and pull them out of basic life, because that's how they've been programmed to view things. They want to think there's got to be more to life, right, than Netflix and Hulu and Amazon and Disney Plus and working and eating and sleeping and this endless monotonous cycle of life. There's got to be more to it, right? And they're just sat there waiting for the meteor to hit, or they're just waiting for the spaceships to turn up in the sky, because they have nothing. And they haven't thought much about spiritual concepts in their entire life. They haven't realized their true brilliance in the earth, and that they are made in the image of God, or any of this, and they haven't bothered to even consider that they could easily be deceived. And there are millions of these people on the earth who will hook, line, and sinker fall for it like that. And people like us who point out this idea that no, we've seen this coming for years. We know what they're doing. We know what they really are. We know what their true intentions are. They will look at us as a problem. They'll see us as a serious problem, and they'll turn against us because we're stopping them from allowing the human race to advance to the next level, type of thing. We're just stuck in our archaic, primitive belief systems that are just holding mankind and humanity behind with these silly fairy tales. Don't you see? The aliens are right there. Where's your God? I don't see him, but I see the aliens, so I'm going to follow the aliens in this silly, stupid, naive, I only believe what I see attitude, this materialistic worldview with no understanding of the spiritual nature of reality. We'll see that. We'll see that, definitely. I won't be deceived, certainly, and I hope people listening won't be deceived when this happens. But I expect it. I expect this false alien invasion to happen. Project Bluebeam is a great example of how they're going to project this false thing. You can look into that concept if you haven't heard of it already. You can just look into this. The plan is already well laid out, and it's obvious what their agenda is when you understand the biblical history of the fallen angels and the Nephilim. It all makes perfect sense. It all clicks into place, and you will be better off for it as soon as you stop believing in this whole galactic empire stuff. I mean, a lot of the New Ages have their own version. There's the mainstream secular film version of aliens and flying saucers coming down, and there's the whole Roswell UFO crash thing, and it's a very physical way of viewing things. You got the little grey aliens and the reptilian and the insectoid hybrids, and you got the tall Nordic types, with the long blonde hair. Oh, the New Ages have really gone into this, and they believe they're already communicating with them. They act like they are channeling these entities from other galaxies, and really they're just it's an ancient demonic practice. They're channeling demonic entities which are right here on Earth with us, and they're being lied to and deceived, and the shamanic practice of channeling a demon or an ancestor spirit is no different than what these idiots are doing, thinking they're channeling I don't know, some silly tall Nordic alien from the Pleiades system or something. Like, it's the same principle, the same deception, just a different skin, just a different avatar, but it's the exact same entities every time. And the New Ages are really hook, line, and sinker into this thing. They are praying to these intergalactic beings they believe they're in communication with, and it's just silly. It's just silly. They think they are mating with human beings and introducing the star seed into the human genome. And they are bringing in these indigo children, these new enlightened beings into the human race, which are going to elevate humanity out of this low vibrational frequency of negative energy or whatever bullshits they want to come up with. But it's all nonsense. And this whole mixing their seed with humanity is nothing new. That's what the fallen angels did before the flood, and they created hybrid offspring which had nothing but evil continuously in their hearts. And now I'm not saying they're actually doing that, but if you examine the alien phenomena, all these things do when people have close encounters is they take DNA, they take blood, they take sperm, they take eggs from people during the abduction process. That's usually how it goes. They take some kind of DNA matter from the subject. And that sounds to me like what they were doing before the flood. It's nothing new. It's not a new concept. And if the person they're doing that, they can make them believe that they're good beings who are doing it for good reasons, and all the better for them. They can keep doing it then. Keep coming back for more to the same individual. But the issue is, as soon as you are a religious person on the side of God and Christ, and you understand that Christ gave us the authority to cast these entities out and to stop them in their tracks when they attempt to do this type of stuff, then they've got a problem. So it's best for them to convince you of anything else, as long as you don't believe it's Jesus or God or the Bible or any of that stuff, because then they're in trouble, and nothing they will try and do will work anymore. Because this is a spiritual problem. This is not necessarily a physical issue. And when these entities come to us, they're coming to us in spiritual form, manifesting physical to our vision and our ability to perceive, at least. But they are not. They are spiritual beings. The demons are disembodied entities, and they require a body once more. The fallen angels, they can manifest physical. They have the ability to do that. They can be physical and spiritual in that sense. And they're messing with us. I won't surprise me if that. I've heard people say that the grey aliens are vessels that have been created for the spirits to inhabit, so they have a physical form, but they're like bioengineered machines more than anything. They're actually empty vessels, like meat suits that the spirits can inhabit in order to be physical. I've heard that theory, and that's an interesting one. But it's also possible that they are a result of genetic engineering before the flood. So there's this period of time just before the flood came where human beings were mixing kinds together of animals with themselves and with each other. And I do think there are human fish hybrids, human bird hybrids, human animal hybrids all over the earth, human reptile hybrids, And I do think these little grey aliens might be a human amphibian hybrid of some kind that survived the flood. Fish people, The best type of thing to survive the flood is to have gills and to be able to swim underwater really well and live underwater. So the humans who mix themselves with amphibious beings and fish beings, they would have survived the flood and probably are still here today, working in tandem with the whole agenda, the fallen angels, the secret societies, the demonic entities and spirits, just physical foot soldiers to help forward the agenda. So it's probably those beings from that time period who are posing as grey aliens, as reptilian aliens or whatever, And the tall Nordic grey types are probably just the angels, the fallen angels, masquerading as beings from space. It's this simple edict. Don't take everything at face value. Test the spirits. Just because something says it's something doesn't mean it is. It can be as convincing as it wants in its looks and the things it says, but that doesn't mean that's the case. And there are just so many ignorant people in the world who have no idea about what's coming on the earth or what's truly going on around them, that they will just believe anything. And the programming is strong for them to simply accept it as aliens, of course. And that puts an end to the naysayers against evolution theory. That puts an end to all the naysayers who say that the earth is not what we're told it is, and that our realm is not as simply as they've taught us it to be, It puts an end to all of that instantly as soon as everyone believes it's aliens. And it's an old thing now, and I kind of feel like a broken record saying this, because so many greater people than me have pointed this out ad nauseum now, what this truly is, what's truly going on. Now, even the Nazis worked with these beings, and people say that the Nazis had flying saucer technology and all this sort of stuff. There's the Thule Society, you can go into that yourself, but it's kind of wherever these entities have seen an opportunity to work with mankind who was on their side, they have taken it. They've worked with the people who are willing to dominate the people. Just like they initially were aligned with Cain's people, just like after the flood they were aligned with Nimrod. And just like post all of that, they've aligned themselves with these serpent cults and secret societies to keep forwarding this agenda, to completely corrupt and destroy God's creation. That's all it's about. It's all based in pride and jealousy and anger. It's not based in anything holy or good. It's based in a hatred towards us, God's children. Remember that. So when you see aliens in here, don't give in to astonishment. Stop and think for a second, and pray. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there, guys. Thanks for listening, and God bless.